she can't walk away from the policies of the administration she's a part of, but she can't defend them either. Kamala Harris in Michigan trying to counter the push that is being put on by Trump and Vance specific to the auto industry because of the impact the Biden-Harris EV mandates are having on employment in the auto industry, like Stellantis announcing 200 layoffs at its Sterling Heights, Michigan plant, followed by 2,450 layoffs in August at its plant in Warren, Michigan, cutting shifts in Detroit and Toledo. Stellantis' GM laying off 945 workers in Orion, Michigan. And of course, we know Stellantis closed its Belvidere plant, laid off 1,200 workers, all because, well, they're being forced to produce more EV cars, and the market is telling them they're not so interested. It's not so interested. The policy background, the Wall Street Journal has it. The EPA's new greenhouse gas emissions rules require that battery-powered and plug-in hybrid vehicles make up 32% of automaker sales in 2027. Talk about industrial policy. By 2032, no more than 29% of new cars can be gas-powered. So there'll only be one gas-powered model for every 2 electric cars and dealer lots. Thus, there'll be fewer gas-powered cars available, and reduced supply increases price, and so forth. This is an issue in that Senate race between Rogers and Slotkin as well, which is another pickup opportunity for Republicans. That is a very tight race, too. And, of course, Kamala's trying to, again, walk away without walking away by offering to retool plants in Flint, Michigan, and so on and so forth. And I'll never tell you what kind of car to drive. But unfortunately, your regulations are already telling me to do so. It's the prevarication of the Bolshevik at play. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, economist and author of the just-released The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with his pal, Art Laffer. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning, guys. By the way, next week the Nobel Prize will be awarded in economics, and the most famous economist in the world today, who has not won a Nobel Prize, you know who that is?
Steve Moore.
Steve Moore.
I love you, Dan. No, I'd be second on that list. But you know who by far would be number one is Arthur Laffer.
Yeah, Art Laffer. Yeah.
Who changed the whole, I mean, he changed the world. And now the Nobel Committee doesn't like what he stands for, which is lower taxes and less government, free trade, and so on. But I just wanted to get that out there, that my co-author of that book, Arthur Laffer, deserves the Nobel Prize. There's no one else even close in the world who's had the impact that he has, but I doubt he's going to get it. But I just wanted to get that off my chest. Now, I wanted to say something about what you were just talking about, Dan, with respect to the electric vehicle industry issue in Michigan. You mentioned Alyssa Slotkin. I believe she's the Democratic nominee for the Senate.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you mentioned this, but she's been running ads slamming the electric vehicle mandates. This is the Democrat who's saying, "Oh, we got to get rid of these electric vehicle mandates." Except, I don't know if you've mentioned this already, but Alyssa Slotkin 2 weeks ago voted against legislation to block the Biden administration mandates on new car sales.
Well, so it wasn't ripe then.
She's against the mandates.
Yeah.
So when she had a chance to vote against the mandates, she voted for them.
Well, I mean, of course, that wasn't the time. Now is the time to be opposed to them, when she's fighting for political life in the closing weeks. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But look, this is a big, big issue in not just Michigan, but so many of the Midwestern states around the country. I mean, these people, I did a debate the other week. I was actually at SMU in Dallas, and we did a debate about Trump versus, Biden, and it was a fairly friendly debate, except the Democrat kept saying, "Oh my God, Donald Trump is the biggest authoritarian we've ever had."
Right.
Like, wait a minute, authoritarian?
Who were you debating, Howard Stern?
Tell you what kind of car you can drive, and they're saying that we're authoritarians.
Well, I mean, but I mean, J.D. Vance was up there, and he was suggesting that there's something on the order of 115,000 auto workers' jobs that are on the chopping block based on this mandate.
Yeah, because for a couple things. One is if the industry does go to to EVs, where the EVs going to be made. They're going to be made in China. I mean, China is building massive numbers of EV plants. And so I can't understand how the president of the United Auto Workers is out there campaigning with Kamala Harris. I mean, talk about selling rope to the hangman.
Right.
I mean, they're going to destroy the auto industry. Across the country, only about 15% of the cars that are being sold now are EVs, despite the fact that we're paying people to buy them. And let's not forget, you buy an EV, the government writes you a $7,500 check. Plus, we're pouring. What was it? Kamala Harris said in the debate against Trump. Oh, we've quote invested $1 trillion in green energy. Okay, what do you got for it? Nobody's buying the EVs. The solar and wind still account for a tiny fraction of our energy. But look, this is America. The one thing that the Democrats don't understand, it's not just about jobs, and it is about the auto worker jobs in Michigan, but Americans love their cars. We've had a love affair with our cars for 75 years. And the idea that the government's going to come around and tell you what kind of car you can buy, that is something that isn't going to go very well with consumers.
I got to tell you, here in Illinois, I'm just reading about the Rivian production line. It's in Normal, Illinois. They've reduced production due to supply shortages. No making of cars on Mondays and Fridays, and the production line is down to 3 days a week. And they said the component that is missing is copper wire used to make the electric motors. It's in Normal, Illinois.
Normal, yeah. Well, I went to U of I, as you know, so not too. But look, the other problem is that first of all, Americans aren't buying them. By the way, you know what cars Americans do want to buy? They want to buy the hybrids. But the left is against the hybrids, Dan and Amy. Why are they?
I love a hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, my wife has a hybrid too. She charges it up at night, so when she does driving around, the city, she uses the electric, and then if we have to go on a longer trip, you've got the gas. And I mean, this is so absurd that they're against they don't count those hybrids, Dan and Amy, as part of meeting the mandate. You've got to have 100% electric. You cannot use one drop of gasoline.
You want to save the planet or not? And not to mention, you don't need to use the gas on longer trips anymore because thanks to the $7.5 billion included in the Green New Deal thing, they already have 7 charging stations up, and it's only taken 3 years. So they already have the infrastructure, so you don't need to worry about that.
Let me make even more serious and timely point about this. We've got this catastrophe that's going on in Florida. We have the Helene, hurricane. We'll get another hurricane coming in. And in parts of Arkansas, North Carolina, parts of Florida and Georgia, just total devastation. And you've got to get out, of those places when the hurricane is coming. And so here's the thing. Can you imagine dealing with a crisis like that if everybody has an electric vehicle? The whole electric grid system was down. So you'd literally have people completely immobile because you put the charger in and no juice comes out. So how absurd is this? I mean, these people are so crazy. They want to put the entire transportation system. They even want to put trucks on electric batteries. Can you imagine how heavy those batteries are going to be? They want to put trains on electricity.
They want to ruin the infrastructure.
Overburdened grid system.
They want to put chainsaws on the electric grid too in North Carolina. Nobody can use them.
They should have started with generators and then maybe chainsaws.
So I wanted to get your reaction to.
By the way, Amy, that's a very serious point. I want to amplify something you just said. Folks, these people are serious as a heart attack. I mean, they're not fooling around. If Kamala wins, they're going to take away your gas stove. They're going to take away your air conditioner. They're going to completely overburden the electric grid system. As a measure for your health and safety for your family, make sure you have a generator because you will not be able to depend on the grid system. I feel very strongly about that. Everyone should have an independent generator that is not dependent on the grid system because it is already over. Look what's happened in California. They have brownouts and blackouts all the time because of their stupid green energy policies.
I wanted to get your reaction. This important interview that Kamala gave the other day to 60 Minutes is Bill Whitaker. She offered.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the answer to that question about how she's paid for it. But I don't know. If that's
well, yeah, this is the treatise I wanted you to explain to us because she operates on such a high level. It's too much for me.
Plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes. It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about. Their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses.
Yeah, Steve, what do you and Art Laffer have to say about that?
Well, I guess I'm kind of stupid because I don't know what she's talking about. But the fact is that let's go back to the start of that, where she keeps pontificating about how much she cares about small business.
She loves them deeply.
Yeah.
Oh, did we lose you?
Uh-oh.
Stephen Moore.
Is this a satellite phone cut out? Does he need to get hooked up to a generator? And we lost him?
But just so you know,
right.
Programming note, he is speaking at our Freedom Summit. He's the breakfast speaker on November 2nd, Saturday.
Very good. All right. Well, that was Steve Moore. He was here, and then he wasn't.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Do you just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free. It's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know